This week, I'm going to tell you how you would prepare to face Jay Lethal and the science behind knocking out Matt Taven. First up, let's take a look at LSG versus Jay Lethal. This is a huge opportunity for LSG and it's one that he's not going to waste. This sounds obvious, but the best way for LSG to prepare for Jay Lethal is to watch his matches. Watch everything you can get your hands on, and that's exactly what LSG did.
Lethal, great counter.
Jay Lethal goes for that signature hip toss, and what he wants to do is hit the hip toss, and before the opponent has had any time to react, Jay is already going to be hitting them in the face with a dropkick. But LSG knows that's what's going to be waiting for him, so instead he has prepared a counter in his own training. The backslide is one of the most effective pins in professional wrestling. A grand total of 1 second between when Jay kicks out to LSG claiming the headlock once again. Jay Lethal is almost a point of pride. He wants to hit that hip toss followed by the drop kick, but we saw in last week's episode trying to hit the same move twice doesn't always work out well.
Moves. One of his signatures.
He's trying to do it again. That's the second time.
Let's pause it there. Look at Jay's reaction. He's almost perplexed. But there's a reason that Jay Lethal is often discussed as the best wrestler in the world. There's a reason why he's called the franchise and a reason why he's a former world champion. That's because he's got that experience, and we're about to see that experience in action. LSG is in total control at this point. He's just smashing Jay's face off the turnbuckle. LSG is going to capitalize, but here's where he makes that one little mistake.
He's not intimidated by him as well. Nice!
In the split second that LSG delays before hitting this suplex, Jay is 1 step ahead. Jay lowers his hips as low as possible, as low as the knee of LSG, and he drives his feet forward for what we call a snap suplex. Jay throws as much of his body weight forward as he can, and LSG has got a very difficult predicament right here. If LSG tries to fight it, LSG is going to end up DDT'd on the mat. He's going to end up spiking himself, and that is going to be disastrous. You can see that anguish in his face when he comes up, and Jay immediately hits him with a clothesline, followed by a backbreaker, and that is how a world champion takes control of a matchup. Congrats to LSG though, that was a fantastic, perhaps star-making performance against the franchise of Ring of Honor. Next up, let's take a look at Matt Taven versus Bateman. Now this is very different to what we've just discussed. Because of the personal situation going on between Vinny and Matt Taven, we know this is not going to be a technical wrestling matchup. Instead of wasting time in his entrance, because look, there's no fans there. Matt Taven, again, he's been a world champion. He doesn't need to pose for television. He needs to get the job done, and that's exactly what he goes to do.
Righteous actions put Taven out of commission for nearly a year, but it's Taven on the offensive. Big knife edge chops.
I tell you what, they came in this match with bad intentions, Riccaboni. These guys hate each other and have hated each other for a long time.
Here's what Taven does. He is holding onto the top ropes with his hands, and he's about to spring off the middle rope with his feet. But because it's so early on in the matchup, Bateman has had time to recover. He knows what's going on. Bateman's elbow is already there, and it is the point of the elbow. And you can see the look on Todd's face. That was a vicious strike, and Taven immediately crumples to the mat. But now let's take a look at where that world champion experience of Taven truly comes through. He needs to finish this matchup. He's taken a lot of damage, so he goes high risk again. He goes to the top rope, and he's trying to hit a frog splash.
For the frog splash.
Let's pause it there. Look at the height. That could quite easily be 9, 10, 11 feet. It's very hard to tell from this angle, but he's up high.
For the frog splash. Aurora Boreal! Oh, no!
It is just splat. That is like landing in a pool, belly flopping from the top diving board. Imagine that on a solid canvas. That is going to sting. So it's going to take the wind out of Matt Taven. You can immediately see him come up. He's clutching his abdomen area, and Bateman is about to go in for the kill. He goes for the German suplex position. One thing for Bateman, I might add, the grip is extremely tight. Instead of taking the standard suplex grip or a butcher's grip from the hands, he's instead opted to go higher, which is very, very strong, is very tight, and again, it closes the abdomen area. It makes it very difficult for Matt Taven to breathe, but just before he can fully lock it in, Taven instead uses his hands to push down on that grip, give him a second to just get some more room. Basically what he's doing there is that stops Bateman from completing the suplex. He's locked in those legs, which means if Bateman was to drive with the suplex, Taven could land on top of him. So Bateman is left with a decision. He might try and free the legs, but in that time, Taven instead uses all of his momentum to do a forward roll.
Bateman has Taven!
Now let's pause it here because this is very interesting. Taven has got Bateman's right arm trapped between his abdomen and his leg area whilst he's controlling Bateman's legs. So because Bateman has that arm trapped, he has to roll forward. He doesn't have a choice. If he tries to sprawl with only one hand, if he's not strong enough, again, similar to the LSG situation, he could spike himself on the mat and damage his neck permanently. He's not going to do that. When you bring the knee of your opponent towards their face, it actually makes it impossible to get the power that you need to break that grip. It's one of the very few situations in grappling where the arms can actually outpower the legs.
Through!
He's locked. He's locked.
2,
That's it.
3,
Yeah.
he got him!
Bateman just can't get the power in his legs to kick out here, so veteran experience from Matt Taven proving that you don't need to hit your finisher or a signature move to finish the matchup. You need to be able to take opportunities whenever you can see them. Fantastic victory for Matt Taven. Obviously, it wasn't exactly sportsmanlike conduct after the matchup from Bateman, but a win is a win. Another awesome week on Ring of Honor television. Are you sure? Because if this is wrong, I'm not taking the heat for it. Alright, it's on you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ring of Honor management, and they have asked me to translate for Delirious because there is a Delirious Insanity Black Friday sale taking place at the ROH Pro Shop. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but we're going to be giving away 10% off all apparel, 50% off all DVDs, and 50% off clearance. That is truly insanity, but you should take advantage of it. And you can do that by heading over to the ROH Pro Shop. The sale goes until 11:59 p.m. on November 29th, so go get those deals right now and make sure you keep up to date with the ROH Pro Shop. It's at ROH Merch on both Twitter and Instagram. Go get some deals.